Oh my goodness, I am terrified to start this video. I'm terrified. I'm procrastinating so hard. Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Minecraft with me, Nusi, and I sure hope that the thumbnail you've seen is something good because me scared. Very scared to work on this. What are we doing today? Well, hopefully the title and the thumbnail gave it away. We're working on some really big corals today. Really big corals. Actually, I tried to make this last video and I gave up. And I went to do the other one, the how to have fun video instead, because I needed to have fun because this was so scary. Can you tell how scared I am because of how fast I'm talking? Yeah, I hope so. I'm terrified. But I did start. Let me show you what we got. Oh, I am heading the wrong way. See this? This was meant to be the start of something great. But then it got to this point and I thought, oh my goodness, I have literally no clue what I'm doing. This is horrendous. Organics be scary. Organics be very scary. How many times can I say scary? Scared. Frightened. Terrified. So I decided the best thing for me to do in this situation is take a step backwards and actually try to figure out what I want to do. And you might have seen it a couple of videos ago. Actually, when was the last time I did this? A big ass maybe? Sometimes I take screenshots and I draw over them to kind of get my head around things. So that's what I did. Let's head into a little speed paint of that, sped the whole process up so it looks more impressive than it is. And I started kind of just looking at coral pictures and seeing how first off, what form they have and what colors they have. Okay, this is sped up by 4 times and I'm gonna try to voice over it, but I'll probably be a little bit rushed. So basically what I'm doing here is I've got some references images up on a different screen and I'm looking at real life coral and just examining the kind of shapes they tend to grow in and what kind of colors they use. So I knew I wanted a pink coral somewhere in the nether. The position doesn't really matter. And then I noticed as I was drawing this that the thing that makes it look really corally is actually the different colors that the coral have. So this one goes from sort of a lighter middle to darker tips, which I thought was just so beautiful. And then we're going in with a different color. I thought that maybe something here would be nice if it was a darker tone. This one I found a little bit more difficult because the reference image for this coral didn't really have that much color variation within the coral itself. So I was trying to add some of my own twist there, but I don't know how well that turned out. And then I found a third coral, which I fell in love with. This is the one we're probably going to try to build this episode. It starts off with this beautiful kind of purpley color, and then turns into yellow at the tips. And I just thought, this is gorgeous. It's so different from what we have in Minecraft. All our corals in Minecraft are just one color. They're very simple, but this purple and yellow one was just so nice. I don't know exactly how I'm going to make that work, but I'm going to try. And then I examined some other coral shapes. You have these more flat ones that are just little stumps on the ground. And these tend to be more monochromatic. So I was looking at the colors of those as well. There's some blue ones. I thought I should probably cover this up with a sandy kind of color. Probably what I'll do once I finish up the nether area and clear out all of this nether. And yeah, basically that was my coral study for just now. So now that we did that little study, there is a whole bunch of things I've learned from it, and I want to talk about the colors we're going to be using for the coral. And I'm thinking, right, we want to do the purple yellow one. That's the one I really want to try doing. I think it looks so cool. I think for our purple tones, we definitely want to use crimson, I want to say. This is more of the right kind of shade. It's a bit more of a red purple than, say, purple wool itself would be. And then I think I want to go in with magenta maybe into yellow. This is a very harsh transition, but we're probably going to add some sort of glass or something on top to blend it, especially because we're going to bomb-proof a lot of it regardless. There's probably going to be a whole bunch of glass on it. But this is probably going to be our colors. Now, something I realized that I just thought this makes so much sense, but obviously I would have never considered it if I had not done this study, was that looking at the coral in the water, there's no harsh shadows on it, which obviously makes sense because the water would diffuse the light coming from above, of course. So when I think about building this coral and texturing it, I actually don't really need a darker color than this for like a shadow of any sort, because if we're pretending it's underwater, having a harsh shadow, say picking, I don't know, even black here to be the shadow for our coral would be completely opposite of what it would actually look like underwater. And I'm really glad I've noticed this detail, because I think I would have just autopiloted and kind of textured and gradiented and shadowed everything and used lightboxing the same way that I always do. But underwater, it's a completely different story. I'm just chuffed with it. So I've talked I've talked enough. Let's head into the Nether and see what we can do. I've removed the big monstrosity from the Nether now, so we can start putting in our nice purple and yellow coral. And to be honest, guys, it's very tricky for me to kind of visualize this because, well, we can see the Nether, very little of it actually. The fog is intense. There's dark colors everywhere, and I've definitely not cleared out the space that will need cleared out at the end of all of this when we are done. But instead of waiting for me to do anything pretty and just mindlessly clear netherrack for hours and hours before I can do any work, I think it's better to just get started and do little bits at a time. And working here is so tricky because ghasts and skeletons both spawn here, and I just have to hope that they don't go straight for me. But I am going to make one here. Now you might be wondering, Nisi, in your... There he is. There's the ghast. There we go. You might be wondering, Nisi, in your sketch, in your little painting, you did not have this deep slate horrendousness thing back there. What is your plan for your nether portals? Because we can't just clear all of this and make it empty space with some decoration. We're gonna need to have nether portals as well. And to that, I will be honest, I'm not exactly sure yet. They're probably gonna reside in some sort of thing, perhaps a jellyfish, perhaps a coral. I think it'd be quite cool if we could actually traverse using the corals, and they're all paths that are sort of at least parkourable so we can get around without any elytra. I'm not sure yet, honestly, but I know that in the vision I see, the bedrock is covered up by some sort of bluish, the surface pattern thing. And the deep slate and the netherrack and everything is all gone. But yeah, we're gonna head straight in, and I'm torn between using planks because it's obviously cheaper and using the stripped stems because I do think the stems feel more netherracky than planks would be. But I also think that having the option for stairs and slabs is going to be better than just sticking to the stems. So I might I might do both. We're gonna start off the build with a nice cylinder base here, just a very simple hollow on the inside. Hopefully not big enough for ghast to spawn. In fact, I think it is. That's okay. But we'll deal with that later. Ghasts are everywhere, so I'm sure they won't be spawning inside the coral anytime soon. But I realized there is an issue. You see, just this much was a very big portion of my collection of crimson planks. So I think before we can continue, we're gonna need to very quickly whip up a little farm to farm the mushrooms, because I think that's what you need to get the wood, because we're definitely going to need a lot more crimson planks. And I'm very glad I didn't choose to use the logs, because I would be out in like 2 lines in. And when I mean a quick farm, I do mean a very quick farm. I have been using this area behind the moss farm to farm wood since basically the start of the world, but seeing as these are not spawn chunks anymore, and I also have loads of bone meal, I don't really need to just spam saplings everywhere here. So we're going to repurpose the space for a little nether stuff farm. And what we're going to just need... I didn't bring the mouse. the what do you call it? Nylium. This is going to be a semi-manual farm, so I'm going to put the dispenser a little bit higher up so I can refill it with bone meal by myself without any hopper chains or anything. Then we're gonna put some crimson nylium on top, and I'm gonna probably spread this out to maybe I'm not sure how much the bone meal reaches. Maybe a 5x5 area will do. I decided to do it 7x7, which I think is a good number, so we're just gonna spread the nylium all over the bone meal here. All over the bone meal? Yes, good words. All over the netherrack here. Great. Once we have that in, we're gonna want to place a whole bunch of pistons. And for one side, we're gonna need to leave a 1 block gap between the pistons and the nylium. Lay redstone dust all next to the pistons, and then we're gonna simply bring this dust down on both sides. And connect in the middle. Probably gonna need some repeaters to make sure it goes the whole distance. Then we're also gonna need to hook this redstone line up to the dispenser. And then very simply set up an observer clock, to which I'm gonna add a sticky piston on and off switch. And I've upped the time on the repeaters to a slight delay. I think these need to be slightly uneven delay. You know what? Let's just test it out and see how it works. It's not moving. Okay, let's maybe remove the delay on that one a little bit shorter. Let's break this. Does this work? Yes, I pushed it. Okay, I guess we're gonna need to figure out the exact timings that these need to be on. Oh. Barely. Not at all. Okay, this seems pretty good. I'm sure you can get it faster, but if we have one repeater on one take and one on... Is that 3 takes? I can't tell. It seems to be doing it. And now we just stand here and grab our lovely glitching out, don't look at it if they sort head, crimson fungus that we need for growing the nether trees. And it's just going to keep going until we turn it off or it runs out of bone meal, which is going through quite fast. Now obviously there's a lot of ways to improve this farm and fully automate it with a water collection system and refilling the bone meal automatically and say composting, extra crimson roots and stuff that you get, and probably making it faster by changing the piston timings. But for now, for a farm that just serves as a means to an end, I think it's probably okay. One day I'll build a matching one for the other type of the other type of nylium, and then we can have a nice little building here. But today is not that day. There is a lot of skeletons there. Today is a day for corals, so let's go back and chop down a whole bunch of crimson wood. I'm running out of bone meal. To watch out for is if you're trying to grow a whole bunch of the nether woods, unlike the normal saplings which will overwrite and overgrow the leaves, nether trees can't really grow past the nether wart, so you can just grow a tree that is only one block of wood, which is very unfortunate. I stand before you in a scaffolding pit because I'm certain I have discovered greatness. I have never seen anyone do this. But then again, I don't normally look up videos of how people mine the nether woods, but this scaffolding page of some sort may be a life changer for me. I don't know. So here's what we do. We pop a crimson mushroom in, a crimson fungus inside. We bone meal it. We go up. Okay, it didn't grow that much. I swear I had some pretty tall ones here, but look, not a single bit of nether wart to really clean up. Sure, I only got 3 logs there, but let's try again. Oh, this one's taller. Oh, wait, this one's taller than our scaffolding platform. Again, only a little bit of crimson wart of nether wart to clean up. Wait, this is insane, right? Right, guys, tell me this is... I'm not just thinking that this is amazing, because I've only got... Oh, well, this one's going quite tall. You could, I suppose you could make the scaffolding platform even bigger. This one's already like 10 blocks tall, but I suppose we could, because the nether wart does not grow over the scaffolding. Look at that. How tall is this tree? Massive. This is a massive tree. Please tell me that this is a game changer for other people as well. But is this a common knowledge? I actually have no idea. I've just discovered it. You know me, I love my scaffolding. And I think that this is going to speed up me cleaning up all this nether wart so much. As long as I am careful and I don't break too much of the scaffolding. And you know what? I might just make it taller. Let's add another 2 blocks in all of this. Yes, I did craft like 5 stacks of scaffolding to test this out. Okay, we've made it even taller. Let's try this. Go up. Okay, this time it didn't go to full height, but then it's only 1 bit of netherwort to clean up. And straight away we can just... boom. I do kind of regret setting this up on top of my moving piston platform. Not a very smart idea. I'm gonna have to redo this all in like a permanent tree farming spot for sure. Ah yes, the perfect nether tree. Wait, I'm a genius. I'm actually so chuffed. I will say, for obvious reasons, don't use this method if you're trying to get glow shrooms. Or the wart, for that matter. Okay, I admit in this instance, the scaffolding's kind of useless. I did kind of realize just now also, this is not something too game breaking. I mean, this is not a massive discovery, right? Because you can actually just grow the netherwoods through the netherwart. You don't ever have to really clear it. You can just leave it there. But I always find that when I just cleared out the stem and kept growing the trees themselves, the netherwort would stack up and stack up and stack up, and eventually only really short trees would grow. I don't know if there was a specific reason for that, or if that's just kind of what it felt like. Possibly I'm talking absolute nonsense, but I would like to pretend that I've discovered something really big. So please let me have this moment. If nothing else, at least this feels cleaner than the madam netherwort being left everywhere. I say, as a tree so tall escapes the confines of the scaffolding grows. We started off with a cylinder, and now we're going to add a bit of a lean to the coral. I think that'll make it look a lot more organic than just a nice straight shape. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to adjust the cylinder. I'm probably also going to make it go thinner towards the top. It's going to be really wonky, and I'll probably ditch the perfect circle shape very, very fast. But once we have that sort of stem done, we'll start adding the other bits required for the coral, like the actual yellow little sticky out things. I should have looked up coral names, I think. Let's take a look at the first try at the shape, and honestly, it's not too bad for what I was going for. Let's get a bit closer because the fog does make it a little bit difficult to see. And more than anything else, it looks a little bit like a tentacle of some sort coming out the ground, which is honestly not bad because sea and everything, but maybe it's a little bit too thick. It's hard to say. I think I'm going to stick with it for just now. Oh, it's a bit rough on this side, but that's okay. We're going for one good angle at first, and then we'll refine and adjust. And I think this looks alright. So I really want to try adding the little bits that are going to make it actually look like a coral. And this is going to be a very huge oversized coral, but I think that's much better in terms of coming across with a clear shape and form. Especially because the next bits are going to be quite small and finicky, I think. So hopefully I can make that work. I think this has potential. If we ignore the torch I've popped on there. It's a little bit dark, and that is going to be an issue. I've had skeletons spawn on this, so we're going to need to light up in some sort of manner. But I quite like this. The color transition looks a bit funny from up close, but this is a build that's going to be looked at from a little bit further away. And the only thing I'm not certain is this is kind of rough. The purple's transition is a bit rough, but I love the contrast of the yellows. I'm going to play around with the actual shape of these a little bit more. Maybe glass panes and stuff is going to help. Maybe that's a little bit too much glass. I'm not sure. It's obviously going to have a different feel as well when we start filling up so much more of the coral with these little bits that stick out. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this turns out. We're definitely on to the tricky part now by adding more of these branches and stems, but I like the color transition we've got. And I do like the little frog lights there as well. I think this front one's a little bit tricky. I'm trying to make it stand out more, and yeah, it's gonna need a little bit more sculpting, a little bit more texturing. I think the key maybe is actually putting this glass down onto the planks. That seems to hold well. I'm not sure, but we are kind of getting there if I say so myself. I think doing the ones on the sort of middle here, on this kind of axis, like going out this way is going to be very difficult, whereas the ones on the side should be able to do a lot easier. Like going this way and this way, easy. This way, hard, but I'm just gonna crack on and see how it goes, and hopefully I can learn a lot from this. I worked away on this for a little bit longer, and it's very much a trust the process kind of situation because I've added quite a few more branches, and if we zoom out this way, I think we're kind of getting there now. I kind of wish I made the branches a bit longer because I don't really love the way that this is almost like a perfect kind of lineup. They feel very samey, so I've tried to make it a little bit different on this side. You know, they're curving in different directions and stuff, so I think that's the very first one we started with, and you can see as time goes on they've gotten messier and messier, but I think it sort of works honestly in an organic kind of sense. I definitely want a lot more coming out this way in all sort of different directions, and then I don't really know what to do with the back. As far as I'm aware, the back does not exist just now because first off we have this building I'm going to demolish eventually, and also I don't know, it's hard enough to make it look good from one angle, so we're aiming for one angle only, but it's been actually a lot of fun working on this, and I think the colors are just definitely my favorite thing about this, even in the dire escapes of the Nether. Where's this ghast? I have gotten so many ghasts shooting at me. Where's the ghast? Even in the dire landscape and atmosphere of the Nether, I think that this still manages to be fairly vibrant, which is the kind of the thing I was going for. Now you know, if I really kind of center my vision around this one specific point with like all the blue and everything, how is there a torch on that? Like, fish, I just noticed that. How long has that been there? Let's get rid of that. If I really focus in on just the blue, oh my goodness, can't record, can't build. I think you could try to envision that's in the ocean, maybe a little bit. I don't know. We'll get there. We'll get there as I get more things to build. So let's go back to building. At least another hour or two in more, and this is really coming together, and I think I'm ready to stop working on it for today. But look at this, guys. I actually kind of like it from this angle. It's sort of, with the red background, it sort of reminds me of flames almost. But then if we go back to the ocean background, especially from this sort of front angle, boom, coral. I think for my very first bit of organic that is not a tree, I've done a fairly good job. There's so many bits and pieces I still need to clean up, and as it is an organic, there's sides of it that look good and sides of it that definitely don't look good, and I don't know. I'm gonna have to obviously play around with it so much more, but let's just say this is the one good angle. I like it. I did say I thought the branches needed to be a little bit longer, so I actually went in and sort of thinly extended them out with some glass panes, and glass is really kind of carrying this whole project. What do you guys think? If you saw this on its own, would you think it's a coral? I don't know. I don't know if I managed to get the coral shape across perfectly. I think the colors I've kind of nailed, but the shape itself might need a couple passes, especially here on the side view and the back view. I mean, as I said before, the back for now does not really exist, and I'm about to get shot. Hello. But yeah, I'm very much open to feedback, and I've never really done an organic that was not, well, I mean, suppose you can count a jellyfish an organic, right? This feels on a different complexity level. This feels completely different. It's probably the most, I always want to say this is the most complicated thing I've built in a while, just because it's so unfamiliar to me. I thought I would be pretty good at just randomly placing blocks and making it look like something, but especially because we're blending the colors so much and it's kind of a funky shape as it is. I don't know how well I managed to get it across. So please do let me know. And I will say that working in the Nether like this is very mentally taxing, and it's not a relaxing little, oh, let's just put on some music or a show or something and build away. I mean, I still did that, but I've also had to deal with these guys popping in. I've got holes in my ceiling now because the ghast just keep attacking. I think next episode we're definitely going to take a break from the Nether for both mine and you guys' mental health sake. What should we do next episode? I actually have no idea. So there is just cactus everywhere now. They've got those holes in the ceiling. Oh, I also wanted to show you guys how this looks with the fog turned down, because I play on the vanilla fog, I'm pretty sure. But if I manually turn it down with the settings and stuff, this is what it looks like, and you can see a lot more of the Nether for sure. And I know in my drawing I had quite a few different corals drawn out, but we only had time for the one today, and that's okay. The colours really do pop without the fog, that's for sure. But before we wrap up, I wanted to chat a little bit with you guys, and I don't have anything specific to do, so pretend this is a podcast as I tidy away my items. But Minecraft Live was today. It was yesterday if you're watching this on the day of upload. And spoilers ahead, they've announced a couple things that I thought were really interesting, perhaps, because I really did not see them coming at all. So we have a new underwater mountable mob called the Nautilus, which if you ride, you can, well, basically, they're almost like a happy gas by the looks of it, a happy gas that's used for under the water. So think about like you mount and build on them and they let you breathe through the water, and a very interesting concept. I never really thought that building underwater was going to be a massive issue because you do have water breathing potions and condense. But then I've not really built anything too big under the water. Just my sword over there. The crater is underwater, obviously, which conduit was perfect for, but I imagine if you're working on a very large area, it might not work out. So it's definitely an interesting choice to add it. They've also added a new tiered weapon, so you can get like stone, iron, diamond kind of levels of the weapon, and it's a spear, and that's also interesting because it's, I think, the first one since like swords, right? That's been added as like a weapon. I mean, we've had a couple weapons added, but tridents and maces and crossbows, they are as they are. And I'm very curious actually to see what sort of enchantments show up on those, because the spear in of itself seems like a fairly niche use case. Like, like it does more damage the faster you go, so it'll be good for jousting. And I'm sure you can do some really fun flybys and elytra and stuff like that on them. But I do wonder if the drawbacks of the spear, which aren't very clear just now, but I'm sure there will be some, perhaps it's quite slow wind-up time on it like the maze, if it'll be worth using over a sword, because I like my sword, and there's some people PvP with axes and stuff. I like a sword because I struggle to get the axes right. Because I think you need to crit on the axes a lot more. So I'm running around in circles trying to remember where things go. I just thought that was quite interesting. I don't normally talk about updates all that much, but we do have one upcoming. We have the copper golem one dropping soon, which I'm very, very excited for, and we're definitely going to spend an episode or more trying out the new things when the update actually comes out. And I gotta say, the Nautilus has actually given me an idea of perhaps building a replica of it in the Nether under the water, because that would be fun to add not only real life underwater animals like jellyfish and fishes, and I got a suggestion for a manta ray, which I definitely will do, but also Minecraft water mobs, which I don't know if I want to build a guardian, but a Nautilus could be fun. They look fairly cute. I mean, they look fairly cute. And with the Nautilus, now that I can build underwater easier, perhaps the next logical step is to make underwater look like it's on fire. If I'm making the Nether look like it's the ocean, I don't know. But maybe that's the perfect excuse to actually finish this thing one day. Anyways, I just wanted to yap a little bit about the new update, because I honestly thought it was a little bit lackluster, a little bit disappointing, because I mean, the copper golems, you have so many new blocks, and I don't know, the weapon and the mob, but they didn't interest me too much as kind of a builder at heart. But I'm still curious to see. So are you excited for it? Did you hope for something else? Did you hope for the end update? please let me know in the comments. I love a good chat. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.